Now, Josh Heupel does have to find another quarterback. He said that we do have to find another guy just from a pure numbers standpoint, which we've always talked about going into the season. How many scholarship quarterbacks you like? 2, not enough. Not enough options, though, in the portal right now. So what kind of quarterback should they be targeting for 2025?
I think you have to get a vet quarterback that can just be a point guard. Coop and I discussed off air that this offense is simple enough to go in there and make a half-field read, get it to the right person, and just get it on down the field. We saw them being able to run the football and play very good defense. You don't need to bring in a quarterback with 3 years left because in the 2026 class, you have the number 1 quarterback coming in. So this needs to be a strategic plan of attacking the right veteran to come in, get us through this year, and get us to our future quarterback.
To be clear, they need a starting quarterback. You don't like the options they have right now.
We don't, but they might because they've seen them in practice and we have not. All we've seen is high school film. They've seen enough, maybe in spring, to walk away and say, you know what, we don't need that guy. And that's something else that we have to also factor in. They've seen both quarterbacks in practice in situations that Heupel might walk away and say, you know what, we can get to 9 or 10 games with this because what we had last year of saying how Nico played was very, very average, maybe slightly above average. And what we've seen in practice, we can get to that.
Yeah, so the 2 quarterbacks that they have on the roster right now, George McIntyre, the freshman, and then Jake Merklinger, a redshirt freshman as well. They need 3. You know that. Right. I know that. Josh Heupel knows that. So even if the third guy is not going to be a guy that would be a starter, they need competitive depth and they need experience because if Merklinger and McIntyre can't play and they're not ready to play, then all of a sudden you're stuck, right? So you need one of those guys. You look at the portal right now in terms of what it offers this spring, their guy is probably not out there. Now, if I'm Josh Heupel in Tennessee, what I'm saying is I'm going all the way back to Hendon Hooker. I'm going all the way back to Joe Milton. And maybe Joe Milton's not the best example, but I'm saying, hey, look at what you can do in this system, right? And Hendon Hooker was one of those guys. It wasn't a highly touted type of recruitment when they took him from Virginia Tech, but a high floor player that came in, and this is all about timing and it's all about spacing in this Josh Heupel offense. Now, who's that guy going to be? The other part of this, if you look at the options, like Ohio State, what happens between Lincoln Kindholz and Julian Saint? You look at other schools like Notre Dame, you look at Stephen Jelly, C.J. Carr, Kenny Minchie. Okay, here's the issue. None of those guys have experience either, right? They're all guys that were formerly highly recruited players, talented players in their own right. But the other thing about this that Chris mentioned when he was on, you got Faison Brandon there in 2026. And I think Faison Brandon is one of those type of kids that is okay coming in, redshirting, understanding that he needs a year of development. So I'm looking for a potential 2-year starter here. But if I'm Tennessee, I got to take it year by year. And Chris also alluded to the fact that there are quarterbacks out there that would like to go to Tennessee. So they're going to, I don't want to say they're going to have their pick of the litter, but of where they are right now in the spring, which is a tough place to operate, they'll be in a pretty good spot, and they'll be at the front of the line depending on who enters the portal for the quarterback position.
Coop, you and I both know they got $2.5 million right now to go out and poach whoever they want. We can say it and try to say this does not happen. They're combing through every roster right now, calling every agent that represent good quarterbacks, and they're going to get the guy that they want. Because who wouldn't want to walk into a place that all you had to do was make half-field reads, be a point guard, get the ball, and just have a high football IQ. You don't have to be the most talented quarterback. You just have to be the quarterback that is ready to process the information quickly. 1-2 read, get it out of your hands.
I'll say this. Here's the other part about this, which is interesting for Josh Heupel. You're kind of given like a get-out-of-jail-free card right now. Like, what I mean by that is you just lost your franchise cornerstone of your program. What are your expectations there? 8 wins, 9 wins, right? Or can you really compete for a college football playoff given the circumstances that you're in right now? So what I'm saying is maybe pocket the $2.5 million, go out, find a starter. Maybe we can get into hypotheticals all day. But what I'm saying is now it's maybe, all right, can we put the funds to better use plugging holes for our quarterback and a guy like Faison Brandon? Maybe you were building 2 years down the line where now all of a sudden we're kind of given this unique olive branch where it's, all right, we can kind of reset the timeline a little bit.
Coop, you and I both know olive branches don't work when you're talking about big-time football in the SEC. I know a true Tennessee fan. Emily, are you okay with winning 7 games this year and losing your quarterback just because you couldn't get it right?
We had this conversation. I said he's winning the PR battle in April, but come fall, it's going to be a challenge to convince people that it's okay to lose.
The third week in October, if Kalen DeBoer rolls them up and spanks them, it's not going to look good because you just lost a quarterback that all you guys had to do was decide between $1.5 million to get this done.
Yeah.
Handle it the right way.
What I'm saying is there's a difference between 4-8 and 8-5. And do you believe that this team is a ceiling team that can contend for the college football playoff? There's different degrees of this. No, you don't want to get your butt kicked every weekend. I expect them to be competitive. But there is a responsible way to go about it and still be effective because you said it, the scheme is what makes this go. You need a guy to operate it, which I think they can find that and get good value at the same time.
Yeah, something that helped Nico last year. He had 19 touchdowns himself. Dylan Sampson, the running back, had 22. But whoever comes in next year doesn't have a Dylan Sampson that's there waiting for him. You mentioned this quarterback-friendly system. I do want to touch on this real quick. For whoever ends up coming in during the spring, though, how challenging is it to come in to a brand-new system, even as quarterback-friendly as it may be, a brand-new locker room, and win over the team in fall camp?
The crazy thing is normal behavior for college football right now because every so often everyone's transferring and coming in. You either have the spring or you have the fall to come in and be a productive football player. So, yes, it is challenging, but 7-on-7, Zoom, can be in the building however long as you want. There's countless analysts that can work with you. You have countless times to work with your receivers on timing and operations. I think you can get it done. Now, are they going to have a little bit of stumble here and there? Yes. But that's where it comes in where they have a good offensive line, good enough receivers, their defense is going to be just fine, and the system's going to be okay for most guys to come in and operate it if you can do it from the headspace.
Not the best situation for any of these guys to come into, which is important why we keep going back to they need a vet and a guy that's been around kind of seeing things and played 2 or 3 years of college football that can acclimate a little bit more quickly.